French President Emmanuel Macron warned that any U.S. attempt to seize Greenland from Denmark could trigger unprecedented consequences. A government spokeswoman said France is set to open a consulate in Greenland by February. Now, earlier, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen reiterated that EU support for Greenland. The Danish and Greenland foreign ministers will meet with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance at the White House following President Trump's threats on Greenland.
Un point ensuite sur le Groenland, et là il s'agit des mots du président de la République que je cite devant vous ce midi. Nous ne sous-estimons pas les déclarations sur le Groenland. Si la souveraineté d'un pays européen et allié était touchée, les conséquences en cascade seraient inédites. Et la France suit la situation avec la plus grande attention et inscrira son action en pleine solidarité avec le Danemark et sa souveraineté.
Now, the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen emphasized that Greenland belongs to its people. She said, "For me, it's important that Greenlanders know through deeds, not just words, that we respect their wishes and interests." She made this known at the Brussels press conference. Now, this comes ahead of a White House meeting between U.S. officials and Danish and Greenlandic foreign ministers.
For me, it's important that the Greenlanders know, and they know this by the deeds, not only by the words, that we respect the wishes of the Greenlanders and their interests, and that they can count on us. So first of all, Greenland belongs to its people. So it's up to Denmark and Greenland, and only to them, to decide on matters that are concerning Denmark and Greenland.
Now, Iran's judiciary chief, Ghulam Hossein Mohseni Ejei, promises swift trials for those arrested in protests labeled riots by authorities. If a person burned himself, beheaded someone, and set them on fire, we must act quickly. Ejei said this during a prison visit. Thousands have reportedly been arrested, and rights groups fear that extensive use of capital punishment.
یک این افرادی که واقعا آدم سر بریدن، آدم سوزوندن، به آتیش کشیدن. خب ما اگر میخوایم کاری رو بکنیم سریع باید بکنیم. اگر ببخشید کار دیر بشه، حتی ممکنه همین کاری که امروز میکنیم 2 ماه دیگه انجام بدیم، این اثر رو دیگه نداره. اگر ما تونستیم امروز یک کار رو انجام بدیم، 2 ماه 3 ماه دیگه انجام بدیم، اون اثر رو نخواهد.
Prime Minister Keir Starmer condemns the brutality of Iran's regime in his opening remarks at Prime Minister's questions on Wednesday. Norway-based NGO Iran Human Rights says at least 734 people have been killed, though the real number may be in thousands amid a brutal crackdown.
In Iran. Mr. Speaker, can I start by condemning in the strongest possible terms the sickening repression and murder of protesters in Iran. The contrast between the courage of the Iranian people and the brutality of their desperate regime has never been clearer. Mr. Speaker, we've called out this brutality face to face. We're working with allies on further sanctions and doing all we can to protect UK nationals.
U.S. President Donald Trump has warned Iran's leadership that a violent crackdown on protesters could have serious consequences. Speaking in an exclusive interview with CBS News, Trump said there were concerns over reports of mass killings during protests in Iran, noting that the true number of casualties remains unclear. He described the figures as potentially substantial and cautioned that the alleged killings and reports of executions would create a lot of problems for Iran's leaders. Trump added that the international community would be watching closely how Tehran handles the situation.
Now we're hearing that they're going to start hanging protesters tomorrow. So it comes back to the question, have they crossed your red line or has the line moved?
I haven't heard about the hanging. If they hang them, you're going to see some things that I don't know what where you come from and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy.
What do you mean by that?
We will take very strong action. If they do such a thing, we will take very strong action.
And that's all from Beyond the Continent. When we return, the conversation unpacks the Trump administration's decision to end temporary protected status for Somalis, examining its human impact and what it means for Africa and its diaspora. Stay with us.